Our top focus this Wednesday morning is on what's expected in Parliament. We finally saw business happening with both the government and opposition on board in Lok Sabha yesterday to pass the OBC bill. It's the 127th Constitution Amendment Bill that seeks to restore the state's power to draw up its own OBC list. Now this bill will be tabled in the Rajya Sabha today. Chaotic scenes were witnessed in the Lok Sabha during the debate on the bill as the opposition stormed the well of the House. The debate also, however, saw rare unity with both Treasury benches and the opposition coming together in support of the bill. On Tuesday, Rajya Sabha also witnessed some unruly scenes during the discussion on the farmers' issue, but the upper house of the parliament is likely to see a proper debate on the OBC bill today. The opposition is also likely to back the government once again.
Parliament is working after a long period of protests. In a major breakthrough, Lok Sabha passes the 127th Constitutional Amendment Bill with 385 ayes and 0 noes.
But as per the report published,
the bill seeks to restore the state's power to list and notify backward classes, which can be distinct from the central list. Chaotic scenes were witnessed in the Lok Sabha during the debate on the bill as the opposition stormed the well of Lok Sabha.
माननीय सदस्यगण, आप सब वरिष्ठ हैं, कभी भी सभा पटल पर रखे जाने वाले प्रश्नों के समय बेल पे नहीं आते हैं, नारेबाजी नहीं करते। क्यों आप संसदीय मर्यादाओं का उल्लंघन कर रहे हैं? क्यों आप खुद मर्यादा गिरा रहे हैं? आपको जनता ने चुनकर भेजा अपनी बात को रखने के लिए। आप संसदीय मर्यादाओं को गिरा रहे हैं, उचित नहीं है, गलत बात आपकी।
The amendment bill was needed as the Supreme Court in its order scrapped Maratha quota, saying states can't list their own OBC quota. But the bill does not address states' demand to cross the 50% quota ceiling set by the Supreme Court.
जो सेंसस 2011 में हुआ था, वो हमारी सरकार, जब यूपीए की सरकार थी, तो वो डेटा दिया नहीं, लेकिन अब वो डेटा देंगे, वो एम्पेरिकल डेटा, ऐसे बीजेपी के लीड स्पीकर ने कहा. So I thank the Honorable Minister and the BJP for sharing this data, which is very, very critical for us. So I would like you to reconfirm it because आपके खिलाफ हमारी राज्य का एक बड़ा केस चल रहा है, तो आपके भी पैसे बचेंगे, मेरे सरकार के भी बचेंगे.
हम समर्थन करते हैं, सिर्फ समर्थन ही नहीं, ये समर्थन के साथ साथ कुछ मांग भी है हमारा. ये मांग ये है कि इंदिरा साहनी केस के उपरांत सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने जो 50% सीलिंग रख दिया है, ये 50% सीलिंग को हटाकर प्रदेशों की बात सुनकर कुछ किया जाए. यह संशोधन ओबीसी की अपनी.
Many members pitched for a caste to ensure true social justice.
इस सरकार की यह प्रतिबद्धता थी कि ओबीसी के प्रति हमको न्याय करना है, इसलिए नेशनल बैकवर्ड क्लास कमीशन को संविधान के 102वें संशोधन से उन्होंने संवैधानिक दर्जा देने का काम किया.
मैं सबसे पहले हमारे देश के प्रधानमंत्री.
The center on its part accused Congress of appeasing minorities while identifying backward classes.
और बैकवर्ड क्लास एक कास्ट नहीं है, बैकवर्ड क्लास एक क्लास है. इस क्लास में भाईचारे को खराब मत करो. लेकिन कांग्रेस ने डाइसेंट नोट दिया कि नहीं, आप बैकवर्ड क्लास में जो पद बनेंगे उसमें पहले माइनॉरिटी को रिजर्वेशन दो. ये कह करके आपने विरोध किया. आपने लोगों के विकास को धर्म के आधार पर बांटने की बात करी. हम किसी को बांटने का काम नहीं करते.
The debate on the OBC bill saw rare unity with both Treasury benches and opposition coming together. Once passed by the Lok Sabha, the bill goes to the Rajya Sabha. The upper house is expected to clear the law before the session ends. Bureau Report, India Today.
But what we witnessed in Parliament yesterday was absolute chaos and ruckus by the opposition, particularly in the Rajya Sabha. They were demanding the rollback of the farm laws and also, of course, a discussion on the Pegasus Snoopgate row. Here's a look at exactly what played out yesterday in the upper house.
Hooliganism, sloganeering, Pandemonium. Hurling the rule book at the chairperson. Shouting from the top of a table. Don't look away, viewers. This is our temple of democracy. These are the politicians we have trusted our lives with. And the man on the table is Congress MP Pratap Singh Bajwa. They demand a discussion on Snoopgate and repeal of 3 farm laws.
ये सरकार अंधी हो चुकी है और मैं किसान भाइयों को इस बात की विश्वास दिलाना चाहता हूं, आप अपनी जंग बाहर जारी रखो, हम अपनी जंग सारी ऑपोजिशन पार्टीज और विशेष तौर इंडियन नेशनल कांग्रेस आपकी जंग पार्लियामेंट के फ्लोर पर लड़ेंगे.
The BJP is calling the ruckus an insult to democracy.
जैसे ही बहस प्रारंभ हुई एक और तो मांग करते हैं कि कृषि कानूनों पर चर्चा हो और जब चर्चा होने लगी तो टेबल पर चढ़कर फाइल फेंकने लगे. ये बहुत ही दुखद है और बहुत ही अपमानजनक है और ये केवल संसद का अपमान नहीं, इस देश की जनता का अपमान है.
It's been 21 days since the monsoon session of Parliament started. The opposition has accused the centre of blocking debates on farm laws and Pegasus hacking.
इसलिए हम लोगों ने विरोध किया कि चर्चा बार बार कराने का कोई मतलब नहीं है. चर्चा कराइए बिल की वापसी के ऊपर. ये तीनों काला कानून वापस कैसे होगा, चर्चा इस बात की होनी चाहिए.
The BJP claims they are ready to have a discussion but blames the opposition for the lack of debate.
जितना इनका बजट था उससे ज्यादा तो किसानों के खाते में मोदी जी की सरकार डाल चुकी है. ये किसान विरोधी हैं और पिछले 2 दशक में जितने भी आयोग बने सबकी रिकमेंडेशंस के आधार पर ये बिल बनाए गए हैं. कृषि सुधार
संसद सड़क पर बैठे हमारे किसानों की पीड़ा नहीं समझ रही है ना, यानी कि संसद की गरिमा का सत्ता प्रतिष्ठान को ख्याल नहीं है.
Now consider this. Each minute of running Parliament costs 2,50,000 rupees. Every wasted hour is 1,50 lakh rupees down the drain. While no one questions the opposition's right to ask questions, the methods employed by the opposition are certainly questionable. Bureau Report, India Today.
Now, with an eye on 2022, when several states go to polls, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has kicked off his preparations for these elections. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Namo app has launched a survey now in the 5 poll-bound states, seeking people's opinion on key issues that are likely to influence their choices in the upcoming elections. The survey is open to people from Uttar Pradesh, from Uttarakhand, Goa, Manipur and Punjab. It seeks voters' opinions on the most pressing considerations, including rating the state government on several metrics, the handling of COVID pandemic, the vaccination drive in the states and several other issues. Going a step further, the poll asks voters on their views on probable opposition unity in their constitution and their take on the local MLA as well. BJP officials say feedback from the poll, particularly non-BJP states, can decide really what the blueprint for the Prime Minister's campaign will be. The latest data submitted to the Election Commission of India has revealed that the Bharatiya Janata Party received a whopping 76% of the electoral bonds worth 2,555 crore rupees. This was in 2019-2020. In comparison, the Congress received 318 crore rupees. Here's a report which highlights the difference really in the bonds that have been sold.
The BJP remains India's wealthiest political party. The ruling party has cornered a lion's chunk of the electoral bonds issued in 2019 to 2020, according to figures released by the Election Commission of India. The Election Commission data has revealed the BJP received 2,555 crore rupees or 76% of the total bonds sold. The BJP has 3,501 crore rupees in hand and in bank. Its principal opposition party, the Congress, received 9% of the contributions at 318 crore rupees.
We don't know how the government has collected so much of money in the form of electoral bonds. Whether they arm twisted them, whether they blackmailed them, or this is the new way of collecting money by giving for some considerations here and there in the tenders and the contracts and other things. So this is something which has to be revealed.
BJP, as far as policies are concerned, is pro-business and pro-industries and right to center. Therefore, BJP has always been receiving support from the corporate sector, business communities, and people who believe in market economy. All these contributions have contributed to the larger percentage of donations.
Among the other parties, the Trinamool Congress received maximum bonds at 100.46 crore rupees. The DMK got 45 crore. The Shiv Sena 41 crore. The Nationalist Congress Party 29.25 crore. And the Aam Aadmi Party got 18 crore rupees.
With such variations in the donations received by the political parties, the opposition is crying foul over the opaque nature of the electoral bonds. The Supreme Court earlier this year had refused to stay the electoral bonds, but is yet to decide on the special leave petitions filed against the bonds. With camera person Pradeep Gupta, this is Anand Patel in New Delhi for India Today.
Over to political stories from Karnataka. The state's Rural Development Minister K.S. Ishwarappa has again stoked a massive controversy. At a party event in Shivamogga, Ishwarappa made a provocative statement saying that the BJP has become very strong and its workers are now capable of giving back in equal measure when provoked or attacked by rivals.
It's been just days since Bommai Raj began with a brand new administration in Karnataka. And even before the dust could settle on the hustle and bustle of cabinet formation, the first high-profile controversy has hit Team Bommai. The man at the centre, Karnataka's Rural Development Minister K.S. Ishwarappa, who has lit an aggressive political fire with this comment.
ಒಬ್ಬ ಕಾರ್ಯಕರ್ತನ ಮೈ ಮುಟ್ಟಿದ್ರೆ ಇವತ್ತೇನು ತೀರ್ಮಾನ ಅವತ್ತು BCom at all cost ಇವತ್ತು ಫೇಸ್ ವಿತ್ ದಿ ಸೇಮ್ ಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ಯಾವ್ದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಹೊಡಿತಾರೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಹೊಡೆದು ಒಂದಕ್ಕೆ ತೆಗೆದು ಬಿಡಿ ಹೇಳೋದು ಬೇಡ ಅಷ್ಟು ಶಕ್ತಿಶಾಲಿ ಬೆಳೆದು ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೇವೆ ಹೇಳದ ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ಯಾಕೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಸುದ್ದಿ ಇವತ್ತು ಯಾರು ಬರಲ್ಲ.
Continuing his rant, he went on to say,
ಕೇರಳ ಸೇರಿ ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ ಅಷ್ಟರ ಮಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ನಾವು ಬೆಳೆದಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಕೇರಳದಲ್ಲಿ ಚುನಾವಣೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಗೆಲ್ಲದೆ ಇರಬಹುದು. ಹಿಂದುತ್ವದ ಒಂದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಅಲೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಮುಸಲ್ಮಾನರು ಕ್ರಿಶ್ಚಿಯನ್ರು ಇನ್ನೂ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಈ ಒಂದು ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರೀಯ ವಿಚಾರಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಒಪ್ಸೋದಕ್ಕೆ ನಮಗೆ ಶಕ್ತಿ ಬಂದಿಲ್ಲ. ತಮಿಳುನಾಡಲ್ಲಿ 4 ಜನ ಗೆದ್ದು ದೊಡ್ಡವರಿಂದ ಸೋತರು ಸಿನಿಮಾ ನಟ.
The bomb had dropped, his comment instantly igniting a political storm, interpreted as an admission of the RSS being given calls to violence in Kerala and Karnataka. A day later, in an attempt to clarify, the minister merely repeated the same claim.
ನಾನು ತುಂಬ ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟವಾಗಿ ಈಗಲೂ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ, ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದು ನಮ್ಮ ಕಾರ್ಯಕರ್ತರಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾರತೀಯ ಜನತಾ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಗೆ ನಮಗೆ ಶಕ್ತಿ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಈಗ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಆ ಸ್ಥಿತಿ ಇಲ್ಲ. ನಾವು ಯಾರನ್ನು ಮುಟ್ಟಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಲ್ಲ, ಯಾರು ಸುದ್ದಿಗೂ ಹೋಗಲ್ಲ. ನಮ್ಮ ಹಿರಿಯರು ಅವತ್ತೇನು ಹೇಳಿದರು, BCom at all cost. ಎಂಥ ಕೊಲೆ ಮಾಡಲಿ ಹೊಡಿಲಿ ಎಂಥ ಸ್ಥಿತಿ ಬಂದರೂ ಶಾಂತವಾಗಿರ್ರಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು.
The comment has led to a storm of reactions, dragging even the new chief minister into the crossfire.
They want to divide this country. They want to change the constitution. This shows their Gundaism, their culture. The BJP culture and their attitude is being exposed here.
ಹಿಂಸೆಗೆ ಮದ್ದಲ್ಲ ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ಮಾತು ನಾನು ಭಾಳ ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟವಾಗಿ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ, ಹಿಂಸೆ ಮದ್ದಲ್ಲ. ಆದರೆ ಅವರ ನೋವುಗಳನ್ನು ಅವರು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ರೆಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ.
But if the party was hoping Ishwarappa would dial down the weaponry, they were mistaken, because the minister reacted to the Congress's outrage with this remark.
ಹುಡುಕ್ಸೋಳೆ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಹೇಳಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಮಾತು, ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? ನಾನು ಸೊಳ್ಳೆ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ ಪದವನ್ನು ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ವಿಡ್ರಾ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ನಾನು ಅದನ್ನು ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಮುಂದುವರಿಸಬೇಡಿ. ನೀವು ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಇಂಥವೇ ಹಿಡಿತೀರಿ ನೀವು. ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಲ್ಲ, ಈಗ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲೇ ನೋ.
As a former state BJP president, Ishwarappa acts of his own volition and frequently puts his party in a spot. And true to form, he has played on the front foot, marking the first public controversy for Karnataka's brand new government. With Nagarjun Dwarakanath and Nolan Pinto in Bengaluru, Bureau Report, India Today.
Welcome back. Let's get you this report now about why it's time for us to wake up. A code red for humanity. The United Nations' biggest ever scientific report on the climate says this. It's raised many red flags and warns many Indian cities also could sink very soon due to climate change.
The world is warming faster. The globe will be hotter by 1.5 degrees Celsius around 2030, a decade earlier than projected in 2018. The report by the United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change has rung the alarm bells. The study says sea levels are rising faster. Hot extremes, including heat waves, have become more frequent. Cities are hotspots of global warming. Once in 10-year and once in 50-year events of extreme heat, heavy rains and droughts will become more frequent and intense. Human-induced climate change is seen as the main driver of these changes. The lead author of the report says this means big trouble for future generations.
Climate change is accelerating quite fast actually now, because we are not being able to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. So basically, we heated up the planet by 1.1 degrees already, and probably we're gonna reach 1.5 degrees within this decade. This will certainly make the socioeconomic difficulties in the future much worse than in our generation.
The report could explain several natural disasters in the recent past, including floods, record high temperatures, and massive wildfire. The report does not spare India and issues some dire warnings. The most dangerous risk factor is rising sea level. This threatens to submerge 12 coastal cities in the country by the end of the century. These cities include Mumbai, Chennai, Kochi, and Visakhapatnam, among others. There's more. Monsoon extremes are likely to increase in India. Models also indicate a lengthening of the monsoon by the end of the 21st century. Just over the past few months, India has gone through an unpredictable upheaval in weather patterns. From erratic monsoon to severe floods to cloudbursts. Extreme weather events in India are already on the rise. While the report is a clarion call, with bold action, we still may stand a chance.